million worth of cocaine was unloaded at Port Everglades this morning. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner was there for the show and tell.
Let's step out of the way for you right away so that you can see the ship at the center of this historical mission. We are told that this is the largest cocaine seizure by a single cutter during a single mission, again, in Coast Guard history. What you are looking at is nearly 50,000 pounds of cocaine, worth over $360 million.
What you see behind me is more than just a pile of cocaine. It represents a tangible victory in our ongoing fight against transnational criminal organizations.
This offload is the result of 15 different interdictions in the eastern Pacific Ocean.
Our message to the cartels is clear. We own the sea, not you. We will find you, we will hunt you down, and stop you if you wish to do this nation harm before you reach our shores.
Officials with the Coast Guard said more than 20,000 Americans die from cocaine-related overdoses a year.
Removing this much cocaine from the global supply chain does more than interrupt a shipment. It weakens entire organizations. It protects communities throughout the United States.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard thanked President Trump.
The success that we are seeing here today is what happens when we have a commander-in-chief who empowers leaders, Coast Guard men and women, our service members across the force, our intelligence analysts and professionals to do the job that they signed up to do.
The captain of the ship at the center of the mission, Captain O'Connell, explains what happens to the presumed smugglers.
We follow Coast Guard training tactics and procedures. We used our armed helicopter to stop the vessels. We take the smugglers or presumed smugglers on board our ship as detainees, and then we confiscate the contraband. And then they are turned over either to, they've been turned over to Ecuador or their country of origin for prosecution.
This offload coming as the U.S. military has conducted 21 military strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the eastern Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Sea. And during today's press conference, I asked where the drugs were coming from, what countries. They told me the majority of the cocaine is coming out of Colombia and Ecuador. In Fort Lauderdale, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
A woman who is an American citizen. 2 One's Knows Ben Briscoe is getting you the facts.
He's breaking the window. He's got an assault rifle pointed at her.
Oh my God.
A dramatic video out of Charlotte. It shows immigration officers detaining a woman who, according to family members, is an American citizen. Her neighbor recorded the encounter. He says agents told him the woman and her friend honked their horn to warn others that Border Patrol was in the area, and that the women were being detained for allegedly impeding an investigation.
It's like somewhere between disbelief and just being really upset that this is our reality now.
The husband of one of the women detained says agents later released the women with a citation. An immigration attorney says the charge of impeding an officer can be filed if agents believe someone's actions interfere with their work.
It surprises you, it shocks you, but you also know it's kind of the new normal, the new standard, what we're seeing. Any little thing that the Department of Homeland Security believes that is in some way interfering, they're going to be dropping charges and arrests.
He adds that if you see Border Patrol, legally you need to stay out of their way, but you can record them on public streets.
But you have to be kind of like a silent observer. I mean, it has to be very, very much kind of on the sidewalk, look at what's happening. So no argument can be made against a person that they are in some way interfering.
I reached out to Border Patrol about the case, and I'm waiting to hear back.
How is this being adopted, and what situations are we seeing them really take these on?
Yeah, this is really fascinating. So we've seen some headlines over the years of spots showing up maybe at a crime scene, but now we're getting new data from Boston Dynamics that shows more law enforcement units across the U.S. and Canada are bringing these robotic dogs into their forces to help out in hostage situations or chemical materials that are sensitive, like going in to see if something is hazardous, basically to prevent law enforcement policeman from entering somewhere. This dog can go in, it can climb stairs, it can open doors. It basically acts as a separate set of eyes. There's a live camera feed. So an operator standing quite far away from a scene can go in, assess the situation, and more law enforcement units, like I said, over 60 now in the U.S., but also we're seeing it overseas. Police in Italy are also using it, the Dutch ministry, and it still remains quite popular in manufacturing and other facilities as well.
They aren't cheap, starting at $100,000. So the reward needs to be large. But what about some of the ethical implications here, Sam, briefly?
Yeah, so it starts at $100,000 to your point, but it can go way up from that. We're seeing $250,000 in some situations, but yes, ethical implications here. Calling for more regulation around this from the state and even federal level down the line. Boston Dynamics has some rules in place, but perhaps some community guidelines are needed as well. Also, a lot of law enforcement units can't afford these different devices, so there's some, talking around that as well. So just really people trying to get used to seeing, something like this at a crime scene or at a situation, making sure that the public feels comfortable as well.
On camera, surveillance video shows a man stealing merchandise from a jewelry store at a shopping center in Miami. And tonight, police need your help to track him down. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor is live from West Miami-Dade. And Yvonne, the manager of the business believes a woman distracted the salesperson so the suspect could swipe that jewelry?
Lauren, that's the reason why she insists that it was two subjects who committed the robbery and not only one man. But in addition to that, she also told me that besides this last incident, last Friday, they were also the target of another robbery. Nowhere nearly as costly as this last one. The thief, she says, took $8,000 in merchandise. Notice the man on the left of your screen. A surveillance camera captured his moves. He looks around before he makes his first attempt to reach over the counter of this kiosk jewelry called Glamour Tuesday morning. A couple showed up with the intention of stealing, told me the manager of the store. She asked us not to show her face. The manager said a woman was on one side of the counter distracting the salesperson while the suspect waited for the right moment to steal. In a matter of seconds, and after several attempts, he reached out and grabbed a box, put it in a bag, and walked away.
It should not happen. That's terrible.
We shared the video with shoppers and employees at the mall. They noticed the kiosk was closed on Wednesday.
And it's such an open mall, and no one saw it. It's very sad.
That's crazy. We had no idea.
You can see the man's face clearly, said Dorian Zarza. His store is only a few feet away from the kiosk. It's concerning, really. We believe these things would not happen here, much less so early. He was glad the store had its own cameras. Security for the mall did not respond to our request for surveillance video. Back to the suspect. He's still at large. The manager of the jewelry store highlights that he did not act alone. She insists a woman was with him. They took $8,000 in merchandise. She told me this not only affects the owner, but employees too.